What if everything we thought we knew about the Dutton Ranch was about to change forever? What if the war we've been watching all season was never really about land, power, or revenge, but about blood? Because if the leaked details from episode 9 are even close to being accurate, then this finale is about to hit harder than anything we've seen before. And trust me, what's coming next could break alliances, destroy legacies, and expose secrets that have been buried for years. But before we dive in, if you're a true fan of this story and you love uncovering hidden twists before anyone else, make sure to subscribe right now, because the truth behind this finale is bigger than anyone expected. Now here's where things get dangerous. The trailer opens with pure chaos. Smoke rising over the ranch, horses running wild, and men grabbing rifles like war is no longer coming. It's already here. For a moment, everything feels familiar. Another battle, another enemy, another fight to protect what belongs to them. But then, that line hits. They want us, and they're going to get us. And suddenly the meaning changes, because this doesn't sound like a normal attack. This sounds personal. This sounds planned. And if there's one thing we know about enemies who move in silence, it's that they usually know something the family doesn't. That's where Bula comes in. Everyone thought her heart attack would take her out of the game. And for a moment, it looked like that might be true. The family was shaken. The ranch felt vulnerable. And enemies started circling like wolves smelling blood. But Beulah survived. That alone changes everything. Yet surviving isn't the same as staying powerful. Because in the trailer, Beulah looks different. Weaker. Quieter. More calculating. Like someone who knows her body may not last much longer, but her mind is still 10 steps ahead. And that makes her more dangerous than ever. There's a scene where she's sitting alone, staring at the old family map of the ranch. Her hands are trembling, but her eyes are sharp. It's almost like she's making a final decision, not about saving the ranch, but about who deserves it. And that's where the title of this episode starts to matter. El Padrino. At first, it sounds like a cool, dramatic name. Something stylish, something heavy. But no, this title means much more than that. El Padrino translates to the Godfather. And in stories like this, the Godfather isn't just the leader. He's the one holding all the secrets. The one who controls everything from the shadows. The one whose decisions shape the future long after he's gone. So the question becomes, who is El Padrino? At first, fans thought it could be Beulah herself. It makes sense. She's been the backbone of everything. The strategist, the protector, the queen of this empire. But the trailer suggests something darker. Something older. Because there's a quick shot, less than 2 seconds, of an old photograph burning in a fireplace. And in that photo, you can barely make out a man standing beside Beulah from decades ago. A man no one has talked about. A man who should be forgotten. But if the theories are true, that man may be Mariano Reyes. And if that name sounds familiar, it should. Because Mariano Reyes isn't just some random ghost from the past. He might be the real architect of everything that's happening right now. For years, his disappearance was treated like a closed chapter. Dead. Gone. Irrelevant. But what if that was a lie? What if Mariano has been alive this whole time, watching, waiting, and preparing for the perfect moment to return? Suddenly, the mystery phone call from episode 8 makes much more sense. Remember how Joaquin stepped away from everyone to answer it? How his face changed the second he heard the voice? That wasn't fear. That was recognition. Like hearing from someone he never thought he'd hear from again. And if that call was from Mariano Reyes, then Joaquin has been hiding something massive. Because here's the twist no one wants to admit. Mariano Reyes might not just be part of the story. He might be Joaquin's biological father. Think about that for a second. Everything Joaquin has done this season. Every hesitation. Every betrayal. Every strange moment where he seemed torn between loyalty and instinct. It all starts to fit. Because if Joaquin is caught between the Dutton bloodline and the Reyes bloodline, then his war isn't external. It's internal. He's not choosing between right and wrong. He's choosing between two families, two legacies, two destinies. And in stories like this, that kind of conflict always ends in blood. The trailer keeps feeding us clues. Joaquin standing at the edge of the ranch alone at night. A truck arriving with no headlights. The moment Bula realizes the truth, the entire foundation of the ranch begins to crack. Not because an enemy is outside the gates, but because the enemy may already be standing inside the house. And that changes everything. For years, the Dutton Ranch has survived because of one rule: family above all else. It didn't matter how brutal the war became, how many enemies rose against them, or how much blood was spilled. As long as the family stayed united, they always found a way to win. But unity becomes impossible when trust dies. And right now, trust is hanging by a thread. The leaked details suggest that episode 9 begins with silence, not action. A heavy silence. The kind that tells you something terrible has already happened before the first scene even starts. Bula is sitting alone in the dark. No guards, no family. Just her and an old wooden box she hasn't opened in years. Inside that box are letters. Old letters. Letters from Mariano Reyes. That alone confirms one thing. Bula knew Mariano far better than anyone ever realized. But how deep did that connection go? Were they allies? Lovers? Enemies? Or something far more complicated? One of the letters contains a line that changes everything. Blood always returns to blood. At first, it sounds poetic. But in this story, it's a warning. A warning that Joaquin's connection to Mariano was never accidental. It was fate. And Bula knew this day would eventually come. That means Joaquin's existence may have been hidden on purpose. Protected for a reason. Raised under lies. Imagine living your whole life believing one story, only to discover your blood belongs to the man your family fears the most. That's the storm inside Joaquin now. And the trailer makes it clear. He's breaking. There's a powerful shot of him punching a wall until his knuckles bleed. Not out of rage, out of confusion. He's losing himself. Because Mariano is pulling him from one side, while Bula is holding him from the other. One promises truth. The other represents loyalty. And in the middle of that war stands a man who doesn't know who he really is. But Mariano's return isn't emotional. It's strategic. That's what makes him terrifying. The leaked scenes show Mariano moving like a ghost. He doesn't appear publicly. He doesn't attack openly. He sends messages. Warnings, symbols. Small moves designed to weaken the ranch from the inside before the real strike begins. A horse found dead at sunrise. A gate left open. Supplies burned in the middle of the night. None of it is random. It's psychological warfare. Mariano wants them afraid before he wants them broken. And it's working. The ranch hands start turning on each other. Suspicion spreads fast. Everyone is asking the same question. Who can we trust? That question gets even darker when Joaquin finds evidence that someone has been leaking their plans. Meeting times, supply routes, defense positions. Information only an insider would know. At first, all fingers point to Joaquin. It's the obvious choice, the easy answer. But what if that's exactly what Mariano wants? Because there's another possibility. Another traitor. Someone no one suspects. Someone closer to Bula than anyone else. And if that's true, then Joaquin might not be the betrayer. He might be the bait. That twist changes the game. One leaked moment shows Joaquin confronting Rob Will in the stable. The tension is explosive. Joaquin accuses him of hiding something. Rob denies it, but his face says otherwise. Fear, panic, guilt. Why? What does Rob know? Some fans believe Rob discovered the truth about Joaquin weeks ago and kept it hidden to protect Bula. Others believe Rob has his own connection to Mariano, one that goes back further than anyone knows. If that theory is true, then this ranch has been living under a lie for decades. Meanwhile, Joaquin secretly meets Mariano for the first time, and this scene might be the emotional center of the entire finale. There's no gunfight, no screaming, just silence. Mariano steps out of the shadows and says one line, "You look like me." That's it. But those 4 words hit harder than any bullet. Joaquin's entire identity shatters in that moment. Because deep down, he already knew. He just didn't want it to be real. Mariano tells him the story Bula never did, that the Duttons didn't save him. They took him. That his mother died protecting him from them. That everything Joaquin believes is built on lies. But can Mariano be trusted? That's the real question. Villains don't always lie. Sometimes they tell the truth in the most dangerous way possible. Enough truth to make you turn against everyone you love. And Joaquin is vulnerable. More vulnerable than ever. He starts pulling away from the ranch, avoiding eye contact, skipping family meetings, watching everyone like strangers. Beulah notices. She always notices. That leads to one of the most devastating scenes teased in the trailer. Beulah and Joaquin alone on the porch at night. No weapons,